All right. Um, News in the footballing universe. The Euros are about to begin, and what a time it is for football fans, I really must say. Euros in Germany, and the last Euros for many players.
Yes, definitely. We are talking about players like the greatest of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo. We have Cruz,
Two.
two players that I think I'll be missing the most getting out of this world, getting out of this Euros. A very emotional
Exactly.
World Cup for me. My heart says nothing else but Portugal to win this World Cup. Fazan, what do you have
Exactly.
to say?
Same.
If you're talking about teams, I think England come into the tournament as favorites with the rise of Bellingham, Saka, Foden over the past 2 years as well. F- from if you look at their team in 2022, I think this team is much better than that also, and they come in as favorites, but they do have some weaknesses as well.
Um,
But the team is really looking strong this time around.
I would agree that they do look as favorites this time more than ever before. Definitely. Yes, England has always looked like they're a strong team, but this time they're actually looking like the top dogs of this World Cup. So this is something definitely different about this year's Euros edition. And
I
second,
mean, England this year have a lot to play for as well. Lost out in the previous edition of the Euros as well. They reached the final, and this Euros being Gareth Southgate's last major tournament as the gaffer of England. So I think they have a lot to play with this time.
personally, I would say that he shouldn't have been the coach this year. And I don't think personally he has the winning mentality, but it would be a surprise to me if he manages to get that trophy. But we have to say that this time the team on paper for England, the talent that he has within the resources that he has, he might be able to finally clinch that cup.
Well,
Anyway,
for me,
let's talk about our favorites. Who do you think is going to be favorites, Kani?
it has to be Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo's sixth and last Euro, and a new manager in place again. Fernando Santos out, Roberto Martinez is in, and honestly, the 4-2-3-1 system Roberto Martinez plays with Portugal is absolutely beautiful. The way he utilizes that midfield and even the depth Portugal has this time, it's probably the strongest Portugal team we've seen in the past few years.
Agreed. I would say that Roberto Martinez, a very big fan of him. I'd say Roberto Martinez, what a coach he's been, excellent. And yes, again, the 4-2-3-1 system I think would suit really well, particularly to Portugal's players. Secondly, if we talk about my favorite team, I would completely go with the host this year, Germany. Germany being the host team has that fan advantage. We know how German crowd is. They can make a huge impact on the game, probably the most animated of any other crowd in the football world. Secondly, if we talk about Germany, I think players like Antonio Rudiger has definitely um, changed his game. He's become one of the world's best when it comes to defense. Then we have Jamal Musiala, outstanding in the midfield. We have players like Kai Havertz finally rising up to the occasion, which was not the case talking about the previous international tournaments, but this year I see Havertz as a big threat playing in that German side. Fazan, what do you have to say about this?
I think the German team they look really strong this time. Their midfield with Cruz, he'll control the game. They've got a lot of attacking options. They've got Muller on the bench. They've got Sane.
Hmm.
Uh, they've got Havertz. So I think overall it's a really balanced side. And being the hosts, it does put some pressure on them. But I feel like the Germans are used to the pressure. They come into most tournaments with the expectation from their fans that they have to do well, that they should be reaching the latter stages of the knockouts. And I feel like they will be in the semi-final, final. They will be right there with the top teams.
Well, for me, I believe that Germany has seen its lows in the last few major tournaments. And for me, I think the only way to go from here is up. Even with new players coming in like Ritz, what a season he's had. And like Fizan mentioned, Musiala getting his limelight, he turning up on the big occasion. I think this time Germany can win the Euros, but still my heart stays with Portugal.
I would also want to discuss about France here. What do you have to say about France as a team now this year with quite a few changes, particularly in the holding midfield area that we talk about? We're going to see a new holding midfield compared to the previous World Cups or Euros that we have seen. What do you have to say about that?
Well, for me, France has always been the favorites, whether it's the World Cup or the Euros or the Nations League. France is one of the best teams in the world, if not the best. So even regardless of their midfield, the way they set up the attack and their defense, they're the most well-rounded team on the planet right now. And they've shown that in the previous editions as well. The 2018 World Cup win and then the 2022 World Cup run they had, and the previous Euros wasn't that good for them, but the Nations League they played, they pulled up and they played big games and they defeated big teams. So France can win this. Even Mbappe now be finally being happy after leaving PSG.
I think I think France they reached the World Cup final and they reached the World Cup final without Kante and Pogba at that time. So I feel like that the change in the holding midfield might not might not affect them as much. Uh, they have lots of options now. They and in attack they have Mbappe leading the line. I think he'll be really crucial for them. Griezmann playing in behind. He'll be playing, I think, in the cam position, which is where he is best suited for with France. And in their defense, they have some good options. They have Konde, they have Saliba, and let's see who starts for France in defense. They have
Um,
lots of options.
this is the main question we have. Who's going to play for France with the kind of depth France has? It always seems like a big question mark. Secondly, yes, I would agree to this statement actually that the holding midfield, if not actually making it better, I don't think it's going to make any difference. Personally, my opinion is it's only going to make the France team better this time around. I see better players, a better holding midfield mentality in both of them. Now, secondly, let's have a look at which team would you vouch for as an underdog team to be looking out for. For me, it's going to be Denmark. What do you have to say?
Fazan, why don't you go ahead with this one?
I think Denmark in the last Euros, they were one of the surprise packages. They reached the semi-final. They were very close to reaching the final, if I'm not wrong. Uh, but they do look like a side that could cause some problems. But again, it's the Euros, and sometimes getting out of the group as well can be difficult due to the competition. There are only 24 teams, and 16 of them will go through to the knockout. But I think Denmark does have a strong case. They have some up and coming players who have risen up to the occasion for their clubs. But if you're talking about other than Denmark, I think Switzerland is another team that might do well
Yeah.
in this Euros. Uh, they're looking a good strong side, solid in defense, and they do have some attacking options as well. And other than these two, I think these two would be the underdogs or the
Yeah,
surprise packages of this.
agreed. And what do you have to say about
For
one of
me,
one of the group of deaths? We have a group of death again, which seems like a very unfortunate group for two of or one of the teams that plays. We have, if we look at, I'm just going to check the group number here. We have Group B having Spain, Italy, Croatia, and Albania in there. What do you think about this group? How do you see this group going forward?
well, for
I
me,
think
I think that Spain and Italy will qualify. Croatia, obviously, the star players we know they're in the latter ages of their career as well. So even with the depth the Spanish have and the Italians being European champions, they will have to go through. Croatia, for me, after 2018, it's not the same Croatia we get to see in these type of tournaments anymore.
Uh, but they still could go through, but there will be the top two qualify, and then there are four other best placed teams who go through to the knockout. So there is still an opportunity that Croatia could still go through, even if they are in the third position.
Hmm. Yeah. And mind you that if we talk about teams like Spain and Italy, they have shown some absolute horror shows in some World Cups and some Euros. If we talk about having
Yeah.
some terrible captains, do you think something like that is going to repeat this year, or do we think it's going to be a smoother run for them?
Well, for me, I think Spain, over the past few years under Luis Enrique, was absolutely horrible. The football they played, it was basically a type of suppressed football. We couldn't see any direct passing lanes, or we couldn't see those type of passing lanes we're used to from Spain in the time of Xavi or Iniesta. But this time, I think with the new manager in, Spain can play that direct football. They can create those direct passing lanes, which can be proven to be influential to them, like in the past few years.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot to add when you guys were talking about the underdogs. I noticed you guys didn't mention Turkey because Turkey for me this year is one team to watch. Even with the players they have, Andre Guller and then Kenan Yildiz, and then I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name. Please correct me. Kol Hanhauru. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but the midfield and the attack depth,
Calhanoglu.
Turkey. Yeah, yeah, the
Calhanoglu.
midfield
Yeah.
and the attack depth Turkey has. Turkey is one to watch
Yeah.
for me this year.
Okay. Finally, let's talk about some key players that we'll be looking for. Any predictions for top scorer or any predictions to be the player of the tournament here when we talk about the Euros? What do you have to say? Any players particularly to watch out for?
Well, when you talk about top scorer, only one name comes to my mind, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo. But of course, I have to go with my mind on this, and it has to be Kylian Mbappe.
I'd agree. I think it's going to be Kylian
I'd
Mbappe.
agree.
Kylian Mbappe is going to be the one spearheading the France midfield. That's going to be easy stuff for someone like Kylian Mbappe. Any predictions for second? In fact, that would be a better discussion. I think.
I
That's really
think
tough. So I'm just gonna have to go. Sorry, I'll have to go with Cristiano Ronaldo because I see Portugal going deep into this tournament, and I see Cristiano Ronaldo turning on the Jets, and I see him lifting that trophy. So I'm just gonna go with Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'd say it's going to be Harry Kane. I'm not a big fan of him. I don't like that player, but I think it's going to be Harry Kane as the second because of the
I
way
think
those
he's gonna
captain.
be key for England. He's gonna be very important for England in those big games. He has shown that he has not stepped up for England in those big games, but I feel like maybe this is his tournament finally.
Yeah,
Still trophyless in his career, but
Well,
who
I think
knows?
that's
actually,
wrong.
I just have
We
to
have
make a
to we
point
have,
here.
we have to count the Audi Cup. We have to count the Audi Cup,
I
guys.
have
Come on.
I have to make a point here. The way we were speaking about Mohammad Rizwan being in that Pakistani side and Pakistan never being able to win a tournament, I'd say the same about someone like Harry Kane. As long as he's in any team, they are not going to win any major tournament. And we have
But
seen
I
that
feel
in the
like
Champions League final.
this time it is different. This time it is different. Saka, Foden, Bellingham. I feel
But
like
it's
they
still
might.
something is still the
Well,
same. Harry Kane at the front.
no, I'd rather compare Harry Kane with Kane Williamson because when you talk about Mohammad Rizwan, you can see he's won a bit of the PSL as well. So I'll compare him with Kane
Yes.
Williamson.
We can say he's a Babar Azam then because he hasn't done both. As a captain, he hasn't won both.
Agreed.
But
Okay. Okay. Anything else to say about Euros, or let's have this tournament kicking now?
I
Well,
think
I'm just gonna go ahead and say if Portugal doesn't win this Euros, it's gonna be really devastating for me. And all eyes on Cristiano Ronaldo. That man is everything to me, and he is the reason I've started watching football. And I will continue to watch football because of Cristiano Ronaldo. So Ronaldo, if you're listening to this, please win the Euros, man.
And Cristiano, I hope you're listening to this. And here we have the Pakistani version of I Show Speed. Right. And let's get this tournament kicking. Off we go.